Greetings viewers, Eric the Car Guy here, a very cold Eric the Car Guy here, which brings me to my point, which recently I was out driving my Honda Pilot and I found somebody that was stuck along the side of the road in their car and I helped them get out. And I thought, well, what a great idea for a video and how to share with you some tips on how you could possibly do the same if you see somebody stuck on the side of the road. The most important takeaway from this video, and I'm going to start off with it, is safety. You don't want to take a bad situation of somebody being stuck on the side of the road and turning it into an absolutely tragic situation where somebody gets seriously injured or hurt. So the number one concern with all of this is safety. And to start with that, consider the location of where you're working. Me, it was a side road, there wasn't a whole lot of traffic, and I could see in every direction for at least 100 yards. That was all to my benefit. Things you want to watch out for. If you're on the side of a highway, people are traveling at high rates of speed, and that could become an issue. They don't have time to react to see you doing something along the side of the road. Additionally, if you're just over the top of a hill or just under a hill or something like that, a place where people can't necessarily see you, or they're coming around a turn. They come around and at the last second they see you, they have no time to react. So look at your surroundings. See if this is something that you can safely do. If not, and it's cold like it was with me, pull over to the side of the road, turn your hazards on, invite those people to come into your vehicle to stay warm while you wait for a recovery truck. Visibility can be extremely helpful in this situation. In fact, the first thing I did when I pulled over is I turned on my hazards, and if you get stuck, I suggest you do the same. There are also products like this available that can help increase your visibility if you're doing something along the side of the road, or if you have a buddy, have them on a lookout and alert other drivers as to what you're doing. And that's the important thing here, is make sure other people on the road know what you're doing so they can look out for you. If you have determined that you're in a safe place and you've got your hazards on and you think you can do this, you can proceed to the next steps. Here's another important consideration with this, your vehicle. Now, in my situation, I was driving a Honda Pilot and I was recovering a Honda Civic. If the situation was reversed and my Honda Pilot was stuck and the Civic was trying to get me out, that's not necessarily the best situation. In fact, you could damage your Civic if you tried to pull a heavy Pilot out of a ditch. So don't attempt that. Instead, offer whatever assistance you can to the people that are stranded and go from there. Here's something worth mentioning at this point. Hybrids and electric vehicles punch above their weight, meaning they look like cars, but they may be heavier because of the batteries inside them. So take that into consideration when you're assessing the situation. After you have determined that the area is safe to do your recovery, the next thing to do is assess the condition of the vehicle. Is the vehicle still drivable? Are the wheels still attached? Are there broken or bent suspension parts? If you find any of these things on the vehicle, there's really no point in you trying to recover it because it's going to have to be flatbedded someplace to be repaired. The people with that vehicle aren't going to be able to drive it away after you're done. That's the outcome that you want. So if you're able to help them and they're able to drive away, great. If you're not able to help them, well, get them someplace safe until the tow truck arrives and they can take care of the situation. Let's talk about the recovery strap, chain, whatever it is that you're going to use to hook up the two vehicles together to recover them. Now, when I initially started out, all I had was a tie-down strap, and that certainly wasn't sufficient because that broke almost immediately. Thankfully, a good Samaritan showed up and he had a cable that worked perfectly for this whole thing. So the thing that you're using to try to do the recovery is equally important. And after all this went down, I went to Harbor Freight and I picked this guy up. I think this one's 12 or 20 foot in length. It wasn't that expensive. I'm going to throw it in the back of the Pilot and also into my truck for whenever I need it. But not only is it important that this be stout enough to do the job, but on top of that, while you are putting tension on your tow strap, make sure you stay clear because it could break at any time, and if it does, you could get hurt. During this entire process, safety is key, so keep your head on a swivel, keep an eye on your situation, and make sure the things you're using are going to be able to do the job you want to do. Otherwise, somebody could get hurt. You don't want that. I don't want that. Now that you made the determination that you can do this all safely, you need to figure out where you're going to put your hooks so that you can recover the vehicle. Things to avoid. Any suspension parts. No. No, no, no on any of this. No, 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 no. You need to find a place on the vehicle. They actually designed them to where there are either little hooks that come down that you can hook into, or perhaps areas in the frame that you might be able to connect to. The point is you need to find a sturdy location that is not the suspension. You do not want to do any of that. You will totally wreck and destroy any suspension parts if you hook up any of that. So do not do that. And now we're underneath the front of my Honda Element, and as you can see, you've got all the suspension parts and everything. No, stay away from any of that stuff, but what's right here in front? But a very nice hook that we can just hook right into and do our recovery with. There's one of these on each side of the vehicle. So look around and see what you can find that's similar to this for a place to do your attachment. Now my Pilot has a tow hitch, and a tow hitch is an ideal place to hook onto for towing and doing things like this. That's what it's designed for. Now on this topic of where to hook to, again, stay away from suspension parts. Manufacturers usually leave some place on the vehicle to where they can recover the vehicle. So they usually leave some kind of hook or something like that, except this 2000, I think it was a 22 or 23 Honda Civic, did not have a hook in the back. And I was a little confused by this. But what it did have is they had a little area underneath the trunk that was like a little lip like this that was down under there, and I'm pretty sure that that's what they were using for recovery. And what I ended up doing was eventually ended up taking a cable, wrapping it around that lip, so there was a loop like this that I put around that lip underneath that car, and that cinched up, and that was able to recover that Civic. But know that on some newer vehicles, you may not find those places. And again, if you find yourself stuck and you're worried, you have any questions at all, stop. And don't make the situation worse. This is worth mentioning here. Some vehicles have an access point in either the front or the rear bumper that you need to pry open in order to screw in an eyelet or some device in order for you to recover the vehicle. Check your vehicle's owner's manual to see if you have one of these and where it might be located in your vehicle. In the vehicle that you're trying to recover, you can start it up and run it. And the reason for that is that will help you maintain power steering, which is really good to have in this situation. So you want to have somebody in the vehicle that is being recovered to help control it and steer it. But you do not want them to like try and reverse or put it in drive or try to get unstuck. You want them to put their vehicle in neutral. So they are in neutral and you are the only one with power. Next, with your vehicle that you're using to do the recovery with, don't just put it in drive. Don't just do that. Go all the way down to low gear. If you have a low gear, use a low gear to tow things out of a ditch with. This puts the transmission in a stronger configuration, and it's more equipped to handle a load situation like this. Now that you have your vehicle being recovered in neutral, your vehicle that you're recovering with in low, and the tow strap, chain, or cable hooked up between the two vehicles, the next thing to do is slowly take up that slack until it's all gone, and then slowly apply pressure on that vehicle until it becomes unstuck. You don't want to go quickly with this because you could rip or break things or somebody could get hurt. Additionally, while you're doing all of this, have a spotter, have somebody out there looking at things that you can't see while you're in the driver's seat to spot any trouble before it becomes a real issue. Also to keep an eye out for other traffic that's on the road, because again, that's of paramount importance here. You don't want to take a bad situation and turn it into a tragic one. So head on a swivel with all of this, pay attention to what you're doing, and respect what you're doing, because vehicles are heavy. They can hurt you. Links down in the description, additional information. Also a link to the EricTheCarGuy.com FAQ page, which has a lot of answers to the automotive questions that you might have. All linked down in the description. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope this information was helpful to you, and I hope you're able to be that good Samaritan you're hoping to be, and also be safe in the process. So be safe, have fun, stay dirty. I'll see you next time.